But I was shooting it, and some guy rolls up, and I got video of him, dude. I should post that. He's like, "Hey, what's up, man?" I was like, "Let's go." He's like, "Man, those commercials are hilarious." I was like, "Thanks, bro." And the sales guy, because they think I'm just goofing off in there, yeah. And he's like, "Man, I'm looking for a car. I'm looking for a new Camry and all this stuff." I was like, "Hey, here's Guillermo right here. Let's talk to him." And it just happens, right? It's organic. But he comes in, says, those are hilarious, great commercials, and he's there to buy a car.
Welcome to the Strategy with Jason podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining me on another episode of The Drive. Today we are in Newport Beach, California at the streaming automotive event provided by Evolution Media Group. Those guys are cool.
EMG.
EMG, yeah. Evolution Media Group. Yeah. Thanks for having us out, by the way. And I am with the one, the only, the infamous, famous Brian Ortega. Brian, what's up, buddy?
Jay, what's going on, bro?
How you doing, man? I'm so glad we got a chance to do this. I think we've been talking about doing this for a while, and it's just like our paths have never quite connected. Right. And I saw you, and I think it took me about 2 seconds to convince you to come.
2 seconds, and we're bypassing lunch, so.
He's given up his lunch just for this podcast.
Just for you guys.
It's going to be really good. Well, Brian, I like to kick off these podcasts with a little origin story. I mean, because I'm just always fascinated because, no one just wakes up one day and goes, "Hey, I'm going to go commit, a large chunk of my life to the automotive industry." So I'm curious, man, how did you get started in this crazy little world we call the automotive industry?
Automotive industry. Well, I got hired just to take pictures of used cars. There was somebody that knew me because we worked together at some event. I was doing video, and he's like, "I know somebody that takes pictures." And I came and I interviewed, talked to Toyota Todd, and I threw a number out there, and he was like, "Ooh." But I was 37 at the time. I'm 10 years into this.
10 years, is that decade of your life?
Decade of my life in this industry. And, just things kept rolling, and I'm moving. And instead of just taking pictures, I started doing some videos. The social media guy wasn't that good, and I just said, "Hey, let me do some things for you." I'm done taking pictures. Let's do some content.
Yep.
And this was 10 years ago.
That's pretty new. I mean, a lot of content back then for dealerships wasn't what you guys are doing now.
It was people taking pictures with their new cars, right, and posting that. And we just started doing a little off-road stuff and taking video of the cars, and it evolved, and then just started getting more involved in the marketing. And then I was asked, "What do you want to be called?" Creative director.
Creative director. Yeah. That sounds good. Why not, right? We love making up titles in this business. So you got bit by the automotive bug.
Yeah.
All right. 10 years later, you're still in it.
Still here.
I'm glad you're still in it.
Yeah.
All right. Definitely probably one of the most creative people I know out there. Guys, if you haven't seen any of Brian or Valley High Toyota's, content, you have to check it out. I wish I could be a fly on the wall on some of the meetings that you have, because I could just imagine some of the ideas that are just getting tossed around in those conversations.
Well, and that goes to the point, right? Because, one of the cool, I'm creative, air quotes, right?
Yeah.
But it's the collab, right?
Yeah.
Everybody coming in to the table and just bringing ideas and spitballing and just taking fragments of ideas from this, changing it, evolving it, and then final production, comes out. And that goes to my point, though. The collab, but it takes time, Jason.
Sure.
I mean, it takes, just don't accept whatever the pitch is.
Well, okay, so walk me through this process, man, because I think a lot of people out there that maybe don't know you are now just looking you up, right, because of this podcast, and they're probably laughing their butts off because they're watching some of you guys' videos. I just walk me through that creative process for you guys. How does the idea start? How does it kind of mold into ultimately what you're going to do? I'm just super fascinated.
Yeah. So we have a production team, Spectrum. They have a little group called the Colonel Group, and we've been working with these guys for years. So we kind of know each other, and the producer's name is Cody. He'll come in with a bunch of ideas, or I'll throw something out when the Game of Thrones was being, the finish. I was like, whatever somebody's talking about, we just want to be on it. baseball season, the latest one, you know, let's do a baseball.
So is that kind of how that creative process starts? It's like, because I mean, that's one of the, I think the key elements of content is being relevant at that given moment. So is that kind of how that strategy starts for you? You're like, hey guys, let's talk about like what's relevant at this time?
At this time, or what season is it? You know, what holiday is coming up? You know, what can we start to formulate and kind of coincide that with pop culture and things like that. So the cool thing though is you get to a certain point where we can be off the cuff like that, just come up with something zany. And full disclosure, our next one, I'm not sure if it's going to go into plan, but it's a boy band concept.
It's a boy band concept. Okay, let's talk about some of those concepts, because like I said, I think you guys have done this amazing job of finding this rhythm between educating people on kind of what's going on at the dealership, but also entertaining them at the same time. I call it edutainment.
Edutainment.
I don't know if that's actually a real word or not, but I've heard a few other people use it. We'll just look it up. So
just
like
Wikipedia or something like that.
Give me, okay, how about we do this? Give me an idea that just didn't quite make it to production.
Okay.
We'll start there. Give me one of those. Give me one of those.
So, like I said, they'll pitch something and then I'll pitch something, you know, so even Todd will come up with, and he comes up with some crazy things. The one I really wanted to do was for this past Christmas, a couple of ideas that I had, but the one I wanted to do was like a Hallmark Christmas movie.
I can just see the music starting.
Yeah,
like
all that
very
stuff.
Hallmark intro. Like.
Exactly, but instead he falls in love with the car, right? Camry get married. Okay. And, you know, the best friend is like, you're not made for each other. All right. So the whole thing, like, well, but the miles I get is amazing, you know? So that one I really wanted to do it. You know, you get the pan down into it. So, but we did this other one, which is fine, you know, where I was playing. I had a bunch of sheep.
You guys are always doing something fun. So, okay, dude, you've done so many cool creative pieces, you know. Give me one that was just like, okay, this is my favorite. I know that's hard to pick. I know I'm putting you on the spot right now.
Oh my gosh.
But like, give me your favorite one.
Which one do I always go back to?
I have one in my head. I'm just trying to see. I'm curious to see if it's gonna be the same one you pick.
Well, it's a toss-up because I like the ones that are a little smarter. Like, we can go zombie.
Yeah.
Zombie one.
Yeah. Okay. That was the first one that popped in my head. Was the zombie one?
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite.
Okay, and that one's just crazy because it's just a story year after year, and it evolves. But I like this fidget coin one that we did for Tax Day.
Okay.
It's funny. You know, it's a public service announcement, and you know, I just fall in love with this new cryptocurrency, right? And back in the day, remember that was starting to, it's called fidget coin, you know? And Todd's like, what are you doing? And then we got the behind the scenes of these things too, and that's another story, right?
Well, okay, so let's talk a little bit about that, because I think that's another cool aspect of it, is that the content is not just the finished, polished piece. You guys also put out a lot of, you know, the bloopers and, you know, the behind the scenes and stuff like that. And just, you know, I guess introduce everyone out there watching, listening right now to kind of what the content strategy is, and then kind of how you guys ultimately are executing on many different pieces.
Right. So just that day, and it's great to have more people involved, right? The more people involved, it's not me with the camera anymore. Now I got Frankie and he's all in, you know, just creating content. And, you know, we'll come up with a concept for the BTS. But honestly, Jay, it's just whatever happens, happens.
You just kind of roll with it.
And I just came up with this concept of like, what if I'm just like this diva, like actor, right? And then everybody just plays into like, oh my gosh, it's just Brian being Brian. And I'm actually acting like somebody else on the set, but I'm not going to name names.
I think I know where you're going with that one. Some people watching this may know exactly what you're talking about. So
you got to go.
Hey, that's fun. That's a good one.
Look at that FJ.
Those are fun.
Yeah.
I saw an orange one recently. I'm not going to lie. It did kind of hit me in the, you know, my sweet spot, right?
Yeah.
You know, guys, sorry, we're car guys. So if we go squirrel sometimes, just look at that.
Yeah. I'm looking at these houses, Newport, dude, just dreaming, California dreaming right now.
California dreaming. Right? That should be like the theme song for this particular podcast.
There you go.
Okay, so look, I think one of the biggest struggles is just creating the content, right? But, I think for a lot of people out there, they forget the content is just the first step of it. Now you actually have to go execute on this content, and now I gotta put it out there in different formats and different mediums. And I'd love to kind of pick your brain on your strategy of kind of like, it's you guys put together this polished piece, but then like, what's the media strategy, I guess?
Yeah, so it's bespoke, right? So I think I was telling Kyle this on something, but whatever theme it is for that month, then everything advertising wise, whatever. So the commercial is the boilerplate, and then everything just spins off of that. So digital billboards, it's this month as of this recording, it's start of baseball season. So now it's home run deals. I just put a billboard up, with the pictures that we took during the shoot. And now that becomes the ad, and all the ad copy is based on, I think we're at the end of the line here.
Yes. Perfect time.
And so everything is based on that ad copy, looking for a home run deal, step up to the plate, all that. So the ad copy is kind of based on whatever's going on for that month.
So now you guys don't execute it just on, like you're not just solely doing it for Facebook, right? I mean, kind of explain to me, for the people that kind of watching and listening, what are some of the social media strategies behind the content, and how, because you guys' engagement is like through the roof, so not only is it entertaining content, but it's also quite engaging content. So kind of walk me through that strategy.
Yeah, so we'll convert all that stuff, whether it's long form, and then we'll piecemeal that out, right, for Reels, Instagram Reels, TikTok. Where here's a good tip for you guys: the YouTube Shorts.
Oh, they're killing it right now, aren't they?
Those are starting to blow up, man. So we're really
killing
we're taking that out to the next level, and some of these things are really hitting because vertical, and now we got now I'm using Opus Clip to put the captions all in there. So obviously we just have that strategy to put it out there on social, giving stuff away, just keep providing content. And I mean, here's another tip for you guys: if you don't do it, like I'm not on TikTok all the time, but Frankie is, and then I have I hired somebody else, and they scroll. They're in their office scrolling, looking for stuff, and they're all right, Brian, here's this idea. And then I go, well, let's focus on used cars. Let's focus on this one particular model. And then, the ones we did for service is kind of blowing up right now too. So
that's a good point. Like content's not just about the sales department. In fact, you guys have put some really cool service content out there. And I think the service stuff, I really connect with the service stuff, man, because like it's, at the end of the day, everybody out there knows what we do, right? There's a 30, 40 foot sign outside, that kind of like says what we do, right? Yeah. But the service side is a combination of not what we do, but also why we do it the way we do it. And you guys have done a really cool job of kind of capturing that why, but I think that's one of the things a lot of dealerships out there struggle with, is to capture the why. And I'd love to kind of get your thoughts on how can anybody out there watching and listening kind of figure out what's that differentiating factor from all the other dealerships around them.
It goes back to what you were saying, just edutainment, right? You want to educate them and entertain them at the same time. And with service, it's a people industry.
Yes,
right?
There you go. Yes, it's a people industry. And if you're not highlighting your people, because at the end of the day, that's what fundamentally is differentiating you from all the other dealerships out there. Those people don't work at those places. They don't care the way they care, right?
No, yeah, that's exactly right. And sometimes it's like, okay, if you're tired of me, I'm tired of me too. So I want the other people to be involved. I want the sales, force, and hey guys, let's do a walk around. Let's shoot a video, and they scramble, cockroaches. We just fleeing. Light turns on, boom, they're gone. But if you realize how valuable you are to the dealership in whole, especially sales department. I mean, if I can look for that one particular, where's that guy that was doing the walk around? I want to talk to him about cars. I don't sell cars. try to convince people to come to Valley Heights Toyota. That's all I say. Just give us a chance.
Okay, so let's talk, because I think that's one thing that really kind of comes out in your guys' content is that I'm going to put my consumer lens on right now, right? Like when I see your guys' posts on Insta and by the way, rabbit hole real quick, YouTube Reels. Dude, for anybody out there watching and listening, and I know we said that, but if there's any amazing organic land grab right now, it's in those YouTube Shorts. Shorts, thank you. It's rare to find something that really pops hard, so definitely if you're not doing it, you need to be doing it right now. But all right, going back, sometimes I go rabbit, I feel like, squirrel, there we go. Yeah. But going back to kind of what I was saying about the content is I'm going to put my consumer lens on, and here's my impression of you guys. It looks like a fun place to go and buy a car from, but the interesting thing is that can't be just a part of the marketing message. It actually has to be fun, to buy a car. It's one thing to say that you're fun and have these amazing content, but you have to be fun. So tell me a little bit about just that in-dealership experience and kind of what, sets you guys apart from some of the other locations.
And I'll tell you first experience yesterday. So I was shooting a video yesterday for the Prius, right? So I'm getting, and here's the thing that just kills me as being this old as I am, just shooting vertical, but I'm doing it, okay? And I gotta back up. Yes, I gotta back up to fit the whole car in, all right? So, but vertical, there's another tip, okay? It's blasphemy to me, but you gotta do what the kids are doing. And it takes up the full screen, there's whole purpose for it. But I was shooting it and some guy rolls up and I got video of him, dude. I should post that. He's like, hey, what's up, man? I was like, let's go. He's like, man, those commercials are hilarious. I was like, thanks, bro. And the sales guy, because they think I'm just goofing off. And
sure.
Yeah. And he's like, man, I'm looking for a car. I'm looking for a new Camry, all this stuff. I was like, hey, here's Guillermo right here. Let's talk to him. And it just happens, right? Mm-hmm. It's organic. But he comes in, says, those are hilarious, great commercials, and he's there to buy a car. And how did he get there? There's a sourcing issue, though, right?
Yeah.
I need my sales guys to let me know where the source is. Was it a video? Was it a billboard?
It's true.
Were they walking in the dealership? They didn't see our commercials 8 times. So,
well, I'm glad you brought that.
I don't know if that answered your question.
No. Look, you do. That translation from seeing something fun, you have that handoff, and I think you gave it just a good example of kind of what that handoff is, right? But I mean, it's not just you having fun. I think everybody there is also having fun. Like the team. I've connected with some of the teams online and social and stuff like that. They seem like just fun people to do business with. Is that true, or is that just what I'm seeing online?
Well, I mean, obviously you're going to have your, the people outside of that. But Toyota Todd is really good at finding people that fit in the culture.
Yes.
Right? And everybody seems to get along. I'm not on the sales floor all the time, but there's always drama. So,
hey, no, look. I own 2 dealerships. I know exactly what you're talking about. Or it's like, as our job as being owners and leaders in the space, right? Like we're always trying to maintain a culture, but like, look at this. Anybody out there watching, they know exactly what you're talking about. Okay. I mean, I can tell you, I've broken up fights.
Okay.
I've had to deal with so-and-so breaking up with so-and-so,
right.
It is one of the very cool, I think it's cool and fun and unique things about our industry, but it's just a part of just the culture, and just like, it's fun. I actually find it to be one of the most cool things is all these different people, all these different personalities, and I think that's just what makes the automotive industry just a blast to be a part of, Okay, I want to go kind of another direction because I know we're getting towards the tail end of our time out there. For everybody out there watching and listening right now, who's, really admiring your guys' content game and your social game and your engagement game, what advice can you share with, dealerships that haven't made the investment? Because it is an investment. Like you don't just, there's a whole production team. Like you guys have significantly invested into this. So what kind of advice can you give for some of the dealers out there watching?
Just get the phone out. Just go get the phone out. Just find that you have those people, those players in your dealership. Yeah, I post all this stuff on LinkedIn. I really like to be on there. All the other socials are there too. I kind of organize everything. If you go to brianjortega.com, I kind of split all the videos and talk about my journey there. So it's not Brian Ortega, the MMA fighter. I'll never beat him on Google, dude. So yeah, brianjortega.com.
Ryan, man, thank you so much for jamming with me today. This has been a lot of fun. Hey, everyone out there watching, listening, we really appreciate you checking this episode out. You have yourself an amazing day.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy with Jason podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcast.